Hi everyone, welcome to Introvert Reflection once again. In this video, we will discuss about functions in PowerShell. So this is a pretty big topic, so we'll divide in two videos. In first video, we'll study about simple function and parameterized function. And then in the second video, we'll go to see the validation in functions and these functions accepting pipeline and what if and confirm. So let's go to the lab and study about the functions. Now this is my first function without parameters. So how do you write function and the function name and then the parenthesis and then this curly braces, and here you write your script, whatever commands you need to write. So this is the way we create functions. So you just run this. You have run this command. Now how do you call it? You just call by function name. Now PowerShell is not case sensitive, so I can call it directly like this, and if I put enter, you see I am testing. So this way you can call it a simple function without parameters. Now this is the second test2. It's accepting two parameters, name and application name, and writing it to the console. So similar to this, I can run this, and then I can call this function how test2, and I can write name Sumit, and I can write application as SharePoint. Now if I go and run this, you see Sumit is testing SharePoint. So in this way, the arguments you can take test2. Another way is test. You can write, you see, dash, the name is coming, so you can write name and the argument Sumit, and then dash and the application name. So you can write SharePoint. When you run this, the output is same. So there are two ways of calling a parameterized function. One way is to directly call the name and the parameters, or you can put in the argument name and then the value of it. So this is the simple parameterized function. Now this is the third function which I am going to explain. This is a simple function which is accepting two arguments and summing it and writing to the console. So I am writing this test3 and then providing 4 and 5 and then enter. You'll notice that I have not mentioned the data type here, and it's summing it and it's writing the host. So dynamically PowerShell itself providing the data type based on the data supplied to these variables and calculating the sum. Now if I go and write this test3 and provide one string value, you see it will throw error because at runtime you are providing summation and this test and test4. In other language like in C#, if you go and sum, it will append the, like, even if the first is integer and the second is a string, it will append the integer value by converting that integer to the string and then appending that to that string. This is not happening here. This I wanted to show. So at runtime, this is converting these variables to the data type based on the supplied value. This is the third. Similar, three variables I am supplying and providing the summation and writing output. Similar to that, you see, it's provided test4, 5, 6, 7 I can call, and then it will provide the summation. Now here I have not specifically mentioned any in type of the variable, like whether it is integer or it is string. At runtime, based on the data supplied, PowerShell itself dynamically assigning the data type. But I can specifically mention also, like here I have mentioned this test. If I go and run this test5 function, you see here it's ending. It is run. And I can call it. Now how you, if you want to define, how you define it, you see you use the word param and these are the parameters, and in bracket you can write integer, and then you can print out this sum. How you compare the value, like suppose this is an integer greater than, you have dash lt less than, le less than equal to, this I have explained in the previous video. So in this way you can calculate the logic, and then correspondingly you can write on the console. So if I go and write this test 5 and I provide suppose 3 values, 4, 5 and 6, so 15. Now you see he is passed as sum is 15 because it is greater than 10. So if I go and test 5 first, test 5, the first argument is suppose 1, 2, 3. It's a little bit slow my system, so you see it's calculated. Okay, test I have written, it should be test 5, and now 1, 2, 3. If I write, you see he's failed as sum is 6. Now he is failed, it's going in else because it is less than 10. So this way you can perform the conditions. Now if you go to the 6 here, I want to introduce a new property, commandlet binding. Here it's not there. Now in what commandlet binding does is, like if you go and write the test 5, and if you go and write this, you say it is the first num, second name, third num. These are the arguments which are getting by the test 5 method. These are the arguments, you see. These are the arguments, test 5, first, second, third. So these are the only properties and which you can execute. If I write this commandlet binding property, if I go and run this test 6, and I clear it. Now if you go and write this test 6 and you write this, you get these 3 arguments which are which the function is getting, but additionally you are getting inbuilt properties also, like verbose, debug, error, and these inbuilt arguments, these inbuilt properties also you are getting by this commandlet binding. So this is very useful if you want, like if you are executing a lot many scripts. So, and if you want to see what is happening at each step, you can use the verbose and you can use that. So this is only like it creates this inbuilt properties to it, to your method. Now I have this process. What process block? What process block is? It's always recommended that whatever script or if any of the calculation, any of the operations, if you are making, you define it separately in a process block here. Now this is the method. My test 7 is a method. Here I have defined the properties, and with these properties I am performing some operations here. So it's always better that if you are performing any operations in the function, you put it in process block. The output would be same, but it's only a better way of doing it. Like suppose if I go and write this test 7, I can write this first 4, now second 5, and then third 6, and enter. The output is same, only it's a better way. If you put all your operations, any of the logical or any loop conditions, if you are writing, it's better you put it in a process block, and the arguments here, declarations in the param block, any of the parameters. Now in the next video we'll define the validations, how we do validations using this. So it's already a long video. We'll continue this in the next video. Thank you so much.